Hi everyone, and we are glad again to see you during our DevConnect session. And today's session will be dedicated to ODA InWeb platform. And we are pretty sure that this topic will be very useful, very informative for you, and will disclose new capabilities, new opportunities. So overall, what we're going to do today, we will provide a short introduction of the topic. We will overview the possible solutions that may be implemented using ODA InWeb. We will pay attention to the focal points and the opportunities given, and as soon as the presentation part will be over, we will switch to the questions and answers session. The developers that are involved in the development of ODA platform are here today, online. They are waiting for your questions, and they will be glad to answer them. You can see them. So please feel free to ask your questions in the comments of the YouTube session, and as soon as the questions appear, do not hesitate to ask them and to address them. So let us start. And first, the introduction. So it's no secret that web technologies are becoming the foundation for most modern industries, and CAD and BIM industries are not an exception. And they're also actively integrating different web functionality in their processes to speed up data exchange, improve collaboration, and interoperability. And overall, web-based workflows, especially now when there are multiple distributed team outsourcing of different tasks, are very, very essential. And you know that ODA is well known in the CAD and BIM markets and CAD and BIM industries for over 25 years, providing interoperability, providing complementary solutions, providing support for various formats, and etc. And it is obvious that there is a strong demand for the ODA solutions and ODA capabilities applied to web. So that's how we are coming to the topic of ODA in web, because that is InWeb platform is the ODA response to this growing demand and growing interest of ODA capabilities. When we're speaking of the ODA capabilities applied to web solutions, we need to answer two main questions: how we can facilitate the work on the client side and how we can facilitate the work on the server side. And the toolkits we deliver right now as parts of the ODA InWeb platform answer this question. So for the client side, first of all, moving from client to server side, it is drawings in web. It's used primarily on the client side to provide support for DWG format. Visualize in web may be used locally on the client side, but usually the common scenario is usage on the both client and server side. And CDE, Common Data Exchange SDK, is the thing that is primarily used on the server side. During today's session, we will move from client to server, describing and providing information about all these three SDKs and how they work and how they may be utilized for your tasks. So, and let's start with the drawings in web as the first thing. Drawings in web. Drawings in web, it is a web assembly, and with the purpose to provide native DWG support fully in web. So not only just support, but all the well-known DWG capabilities that are provided by ODA for desktop solutions, they are now migrating to web. To improve the maturity of the project, we do not write it fully from the scratch. but rather convert and migrate the existing mature and approved C++ code to web, and thus preserving the maturity of the overall solution. And the advantages are obvious. That's reading DWGs just through the browser. It's visualization of the DWG models, again in the browser, but preserving the original DWG structure that gives you the possibility to create entities in a DWG model or fully new DWGs, or editing existing DWG entities in an existing DWG file. So, simply speaking, it looks the following way. If you have a drawings in web-based solution, somewhere hosted somewhere on your choice, this solution delivers the drawings in WebAssembly with all the native support of DWG, and then everything is happening locally on your desktop right in the browser. So the DWG model that you have on your desktop is processed in the browser by means of drawings in WebAssembly. So everything is clear, and everything is straightforward and quite private and secure. So we've got a demo illustrating of how it looks like. We've prepared some online examples. So among them there is opening of a DWG model. Everything's working in the browser. But the set of examples is not limited to reading of a DWG model only. So reading and visualization, there are some auxiliary examples. So for instance, examples that create some elements of different types, polylines, lines, etc. You can download the created DWG, created right here in the browser. Later on, you see that it is an actual DWG model created. Some time is necessary to download it. Then you can visualize it. So it's an actual file. It's not an image, print screen, or something of that kind. So all those capabilities, as we said, are available for you, and you can reproduce the same creation capabilities or editing capabilities in your solution with no issues. Right now you see the example of changing the actual font. Let's move on further. So overall, the idea, as I said, is to migrate the existing approved and highly demanded drawings desktop capabilities to drawings and web. And we are now, in addition to reading, editing, and creating of DWGs, we've migrated such capabilities as revision control, incremental saving, partial loading, files recovery. Sometimes it happens so that the files are corrupted, constraint support, common data access, dynamic blocks, and font support. So all those capabilities are already migrated and are available in the drawings in web that will be released shortly. The next item. Overall, the advantages. Let's sum them up. Everything is working fully in your browser. No third-party connections are required, so that means that there is no need to upload your DWG model to somebody's cloud, somebody's service, somebody's storage. Everything is processed right here on your desktop. So from the point of view of privacy of your data, everything is on your full control, and there are no privacy or data sharing issues or concerns. Overall, basing on the requests that we get, we can enumerate various tasks that may be accomplished and may be implemented using our drawings in web, or the implementation of such tasks became much simpler. For instance, various online configurators. When, for instance, you have a 2D floor plan of some level and you need to place fire protection equipment, lighting equipment, ventilation equipment, and etc., and save the result of your work as a DWG model with the necessary edits being done, or fully new DWG model. Various 2D and 3D DWG viewers, again, it's quite an essential task, especially if you work in the area of, for instance, different materials and etc. The possibility to illustrate, to give an impression of how a particular facade or whatever will look like with a new furnishing materials and etc. is quite essential. And different data managers, when you need to introduce edits or extract data from a DWG model. So again, everything may be done using our drawings in Web SDK, and thus you will have a fully web solution ready to inject in any DWG based workflow. I hope that by this moment you already have some ideas, and I'm pretty sure you have, of how drawings in web may be leveraged for your tasks, for your clients, for your existing solutions, or probably for your future projects, and the questions related to development and deploy. So first of all, working with drawings in web is the same, absolutely the same as working with any other JavaScript library, except for one point: you need to have and you need to install and to run the protection server. So the protection server, if you're familiar with ODE, with work with drawings or other ODE SDKs, protection server acts in a similar manner as the activation info file for the desktop solutions. So, but the requirements are very modest. So it may be a Windows or a Linux server with one CPU and 1 GB of RAM, and that's enough. So it's not something difficult. And on the client side, in the browser, you need to have WebAssembly and WebGL support to be able to launch the drawings in web-based application in the browser of your client. So that's it. And looks that these requirements cannot be a big obstacle and cannot be a big problem. So from the point of view of what resources and what developers you require, so drawings in web provides API, again the same as any other JavaScript library, and developers are free to choose any framework, React, Angular, Svelte, or any other. You can develop your application using JavaScript or TypeScript, and to facilitate your work, ODE provides a drawings.ts file that may be used in the IDE for type annotation access. So again, everything is quite straightforward, quite clear. I don't know, I'm pretty sure that many experts with the necessary skills are available, probably right exactly in your company, and so you can start the new development or improving the features of existing solution. Next, let's move to the next item and show some demos. So we'll show you the source code of the examples that I've showed before. You can modify the code and easily see the changes. The code is quite simple, and you can play around with it on your own. So just access the cloud.opendesign.com and switch to the examples, and you can try it yourself, get acquainted with the source code of these examples, make some plans of how you can utilize something on your own. The examples, as you see, are more focused on the creation of particular entities, but changing the font is also, such example is also available. Okay, now we're done with the drawings in web, and let's switch to the visualize in web, the next item. And what we need to say about the visualize in web, it uses the same approach. It is the client part is also a web assembly, but compared to drawings in web, visualize in web supports not DWG but VSFX format. VSFX, it is an internal ODA format that is used for visualization. And if it happens so that you all can export data from native format to VSFX, you can work locally. But if you do not have this opportunity, or do not wish to force your clients to do so, or wish to help your client, just do not care about the formats, export, and etc., there is a server side that allows to export the native format, say Revit or IFC, to VSFX, transfer VSFX back to the client side, and then work with it. So it looks the following way. So if you have VSFX, you are free to work with it locally in the same manner using the WebAssembly. But if you need your client to forget about formats, exports, and etc., you can have the server side that will perform you the export of data and transfer VSFX, so it's processed on the client side. The features that we get with the visualize in web are the following. As we already mentioned it implicitly, it's multi-format visualization, because we have a bunch of exports that allow us to convert native formats to VSFX. In addition, we've migrated several capabilities like selections, highlighting, cutting planes, and that's not all. There are several extended capabilities like collision detection, like animation, hide, isolate, anti-aliasing, user data or X data, and CDE for element properties. The latter two need additional comment, I guess. So CDE allows you to access properties of different elements in a unified manner. But sometimes it's happening so that you require some particular specific data being inserted in the CDE mechanism, and X data that allows you to achieve this goal. So on one hand, everything is unified, but on the other, if necessary, it is customizable. So let's move further and introduce you the CDE Common Data Environment SDK that's working primarily on the client side. And for CDE, we need to say the following, that it includes the following components. It's a web server with the REST API. It is also a JavaScript library for visualization and different various auxiliary applications. We've got a dedicated web tools package that allow you to create and to implement different tasks in the back end, some exports and auxiliary things. So when speaking about the features, it's necessary to say that we get with the CDE data integration, we've got the version control, we've got different reporting and analytics, and the possibility to perform BIM data inspection and validation. For instance, BCF format is also supported as part of the CDE, so such inspections and validations may be implemented using our CDE SDK. Now, we are able to make some conclusions, but before we do it, we need to mention one thing. So right now, during today's session, we provided quite a big deal of information, and when speaking, for instance, about the Drawings SDK, it's a relatively new project, and the release is not even published, but it will be published quite shortly. So to launch some development, to launch the you face some learning curve, and to eliminate this learning curve, we have ODE consulting services. So it is a relatively new service, but it is again a response for the demand from our membership community, when companies just do not wish to make a deep dive into particularly some ODE specifics, but at the same time have just very, very large and complex projects. On the other hand, sometimes it's just not reasonable, because the advantages of the company are in another area, and it's necessary to quickly develop MVP or first version of the project. So it's possible to address ODE consulting services and get assistance, or even with the concepts, with the features, with the very source code of the client application, provided by the ODE engineers, provided by the very SDK developers. So if you plan to use some SDK in your project, it's possible through consulting services to address the developers of this SDK and to get assistance even with the creation of the source code from those engineers. So so as a result, you're able to eliminate the learning curve and to quicker create the project with less efforts, less time spent in vain, and less mistakes, and in a more efficient manner. That's a point to mention, because we already have some successful cases when companies address this service, and this helps to accomplish large projects quicker. But getting back to the possible in-web applications, so again, to sum up what can be done, those are different online DWG editors, online BIM data inspection solutions, various CAD and BIM bureaus, common data environment, as is, with all the possibilities to control access, privileges, security, data integration, version management, and etc. Various document management systems, sometimes ODE solutions act as a foundation for document management systems. Sometimes ODE-based solutions are used just to implement particular components of document management systems, and various CAD and BIM data exporters, because it's also quite, I would say, popular topic just to export particular CAD or BIM data into some well-known or easy to process format, and for further processing in the workflows of the company. So briefly, that's it as an introduction about the ODE in web topic, and now we are waiting for your questions, and we will be glad to answer them. So please ask them. Just a notification: in about a month, in October, we will have another session dedicated to visualize. And one more point also to mention: if you have some questions that you do not wish to discuss in public, you have a link to set up an individual meeting with the ODE team, and during that meeting you will be able to discuss your more private questions, more private issues directly with ODE developers, with no third-party people involved. So now let's switch to your questions. And the first question which I see is the following: I want to use drawings in web to edit DWG with custom entities. How could I do that? Ilya?
Yes. Hello, everyone. To be able to modify custom entities, you can use set custom data and get custom data from the class ODDB table. It's actually pretty similar with the desktop API, so but without additional SDKs like Civil, we not supported, like architecture, we not supported, only pure DWG, pure drawing SDK.
Mhm. Okay. So what's next? The next question is the following. What about working with multi-layout in a drawing?
Uh, Multiple layouts, yes, we support it. Unfortunately, we don't have example for this right now, but we are going to add it. We are planning to extend the list of examples, and this functionality will be presented, and it's already available in our API. So yeah.
Mhm. Cool. Okay. Any any new questions? Overall, summing this up, everything that is possible with the DWG, regular DWG on desktop is possible with the drawings in the web. So, okay, another question: how big download size is the WASM bundle for the browser?
The WASM bundle, approximately 20 megabytes. It's pretty heavy, I'm agree, but after the first loading, browser usually can cache it, and then it works pretty fast.
Okay, let's move on further. What I guess it is the follow-up of the previous question. What about the grip and snap point support?
Unfortunately, we not support them right now. Uh, so you have to implement it by yourself. I think that we are going to add it, but it's not a high priority task, so I don't know when we can deliver it. So
Mhm.
in first step, you need to implement it by yourself.
Okay, the follow-up again of this topic. My next question is related to the above one. Do we need the DLL that has the definition of the custom entity, and how to load the DLL?
Uh, yes, I understand this. It's obviously come from the idea that you already have some functionality that already implemented on C++, and it's very good way to be able to cross-compile these DLL models into WebAssembly format and be able to load them to the browser. Unfortunately, our current implementation doesn't support this, but it's quite interesting feature. We investigated, but I can't say for sure can we reach some significant results in this area? I don't know, but we interested in this functionality as well.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Then next question. I'm working primarily with piping and instrumentation diagrams for process industries. It appears that you're primarily targeting architecture, civil engineering, and BIM. Do you have PID examples?
For this functionality, we don't have any examples, but actually, and we don't have any limitation to use our functionality in this area. I think that we can discuss with guys. Maybe you can provide more information about your workflow, and maybe we can find out something how we can help you.
Because, for example, as far as I remember, related topic is the topic of the Plant 3D extension, and from this point of view, it is just an extension on top of DWG with some custom entities that have custom properties. So there are no, say, obstacles to implement this, but on the other hand, it's necessary to make some investigation and to understand how to move on with the implementation of such topic. So
Yes,
it is
yes.
doable in general, but the particular implementation requires time and resources and some priority and strong demand because we follow the requirements of the membership community in general. But in general, there are no, say, obstacles for this, so it's negotiable. It's possible to discuss. If you have some interesting tips, we'll be glad, of course, to acquire this information, probably for further discussions, for further development plans, and it's really interesting as well. Okay. Next question. Does dynamic block work well in drawings in InWeb SDK?
Actually, it should work like on the desktop. So we don't have API for editing dynamic blocks, for creating them, but for using it possible. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to prepare examples for this, but in future we are planning to add such kind of examples. So I can't say that we have tried, but we don't have any limitation during cross-compiling this library. And so, yes, I think it's possible to work with such type of blocks.
Okay, then next question. Is there something different between OpenCloud SDK and InWeb SDK? A good question.
Actually, it's the same product. It's just rebranding the new name. In web technologies is its stack of new libraries of new solutions that will be available on the web platform. So right now it's our main open cloud server InWeb SDK. Beside this, it's visualize InWeb. Now the new product is drawing InWeb, and maybe in future we will add new products in similar manner.
Overall, it's an evolution of the project that was formerly open cloud, but it's growing, it's expanding to other areas, it's getting new libraries, it acquires new features, new capabilities, it targets additional niches and audiences. So, and thus splitting it into into separate projects is absolutely reasonable. And if open cloud it was one product, in web it is a bunch of products right now. So it's not a single product, but it's already a platform. So that's, but
Yes.
overall, yes, they are tightly connected, and some of features are inherited from open cloud. It's correct. The next question, in Visualize.js, how to attach user data to an object, an entity, for example. I don't know. Probably we can, I don't know, postpone this question for more detailed discussion to Visualize session, which will be in a month. So thus we will be able to address all the underlying Visualize specifics and web specifics, in web specifics, and thus we will be able to provide this information probably right in the presentation part. But Ilya, if you have something to add right now and to give some tips.
I think that I will ask our developers about some part of our code source to demonstrate how this functionality can work inside the Visualize.js. Visualize in web.
I think it will be reasonable to postpone this to Visualize topic to have a better focus on this. Okay. But anyway, if it is very critical for you right now, you can just set up and address for the individual meeting and for describe the topic, and we'll probably try to also invite the Visualize specific guys to this meeting, so you can get detailed information. Now let's move to the next question. Can the SDK be used to export or create PDFs from the layouts? I guess from the layouts of DWGs.
The current version does not support this functionality, but we are planning to add it in future releases.
The next question, are TypeScript types available? Don't know.
For visualizing web, it's already available. For drawing in web, we just recently added. It will be available in final release archives. Unfortunately, it's not full right now. It only specify a set of classes and methods, but without types of arguments. We're planning to fill this gap in future releases, but the initial specification of classes and methods already available.
Cool. Okay, next question. If grip point, it's again a follow-up, I guess, of the topic we had. If grip points are not supported, for example, resizing circle, how to display some grip point to resize it?
In the same way, like on the desktop, It's like additional functionality on top of the basic functionality of drawing entities. Okay, I think that we need to prepare some example for this functionality, maybe some quite simple one. Mm, but okay, we can provide something, I think.
Okay, let's move to the next question. How to implement the features of Visualize InWeb into Drawing InWeb SDK, such as cutting plane, collision detection, etc. So just as a short intro, if you do not need editing, you can just use Visualize InWeb to work with the DWG models, because as it was mentioned, Visualize InWeb supports multi-format visualization, and DWG is supported as well. So just use it for DWG with no limitations. But if you plan to create some full-featured CAD editor with rich functionality and with editing capabilities, the capabilities to edit the DWG, and thus you need to preserve this original structure. So I don't know. Again, as Ilya mentioned in the answer for the previous question, it will be something that should be built on top on the side of your web application. We can, I think, provide some information of how we implement this, but say some kind of a mechanical merging of two SDKs, Drawings in Web and Visualize in Web, is not possible, just an easy mechanical merging of two SDKs. So it's necessary to say implement it in a little bit more detailed manner, such capabilities. But in general, of course, it's possible to say visualize something using Visualize in Web and switch to some editing mode to Drawings in Web, but such possibility exists, but again it requires some efforts on the application implementation side. But again, it will be the very task matters in this case, so it's necessary to know precisely what solution you are planning to create. If it is just viewer, you are free to use Visualize in Web and with no limitations, having these capabilities already. Okay, the next question: how to get drawings in Web?
We are going to provide the beta version of Drawing in Web, I think on this week or maybe the next week. It will be provided with the library, with the protection server, the TypeScript notation, and our list of examples.
Okay. So, well, any other questions? So please join our LinkedIn group, follow the news, visit our site to get the information and notification when the drawings in web will be available for download. So because it is the project that's coming shortly, and the new one. Is the next question, is the Linux toolchain included in the free 60-day trial? You see, usually our trials are limited to Windows version only, but in case of drawings in web, it's necessary, I think, to analyze after we get the release available for download. For regular version, we will need to have a look at what will be available for the trial version. I guess so. And after this, so we will notify what exactly is available. Okay, but with any existing OD membership level, drawings in web will be available for you for download quite shortly in September. Okay, let's have a look whether we have some other questions. Okay, the next question. Can we use drawings in Web SDK in React Native or Flutter?
I think yes. We already have, actually, we didn't try it, but as I know, there are no limitation to use it in React Native or Flutter. It's already support WebAssembly and WebGL API, so it should be available, I think, but need to check it.
Okay, let us move on with the next question. Can I add multiple files into drawing, and can I add many kind of files like DWG plus IFC into drawing? You see, first of all, I will probably start from the second part. Multiple files of different formats may be compiled and may be merged on one scene in Visualize in web. So as you remember, as we showed the scheme, the native format is exported to VSFX. So and it happens for all formats, say DWG, IFC, and etc. And VSFX may be compiled on one scene. So you can get some federated scene that consists of the geometry of different formats. So you can have DWG append IFC at the same scene and say Revit or whatever. So it is possible with Visualize. For drawings, I don't know, is the possibility to copy data from one DWG to another?
I'm not sure. I think yes, this is more related to our Open Cloud server that support creating assemblies. The assemblies is an entity where you can combine different files from different formats like DWG, IFC, Revit files, and Navisworks files into a single one, and then open it in the browser with Visualize. Only in this using this tech stack, you can open these files into a single drawing.
And as for multiple files into drawing, you see, if we're talking about DWG, I think it's possible just read one and create similar elements in another DWG, because the creation capabilities should be available.
Yes.
But overall, just easy. You see, again, it turns into a level of the business logic of the application, and as we deliver SDKs, we are more focused on the basic features and capabilities. So overall, there is no such out-of-the-box feature for DWGs as there is such feature in Visualize, with the possibility to create federated scenes. The next question: can you provide some examples about using UCS InWeb. I have tried to create some entities in 3D orbit mode by using Visualize.js, but I failed.
Okay, I think that we can prepare some basic example for this. Maybe you can give us more details, what the problem you meet, maybe need some small modification and it will work.
I think if you what we can do, I think in the comment to this session on YouTube, we can add the link to the examples for Visualize InWeb that are similar to, probably right now somebody can add, some of the developers can add the link to the examples, and you can get a glimpse on this just on your own. I think that should be useful, whether or not there are among the examples there is something that is close or related to your goals, and if it is so, it will be possible just to address the already implemented example. Okay, any other questions? No new questions for now. As of now, as we're waiting for some additional questions, just wish to remind you that the record of this session will be available on our YouTube channel. So if you need to watch it later on or share with your colleagues, with your teams, it will be available. One more thing also to mention, do not please forget about the information in the emails with the links to set up individual meetings. So if you have questions, ideas, something probably more technical, just do not hesitate to set up individual meeting with our team. So if you, and please provide a description of what you face, so we can invite additional engineers to help you. Okay, any other questions? I think overall it will be reasonable to add the links to the examples, drawings in the web and visualize in the web in the comments to this session, so everyone can access them just while watching or after watching the session. Okay, any other questions, any comments? Looks we do not have new questions for now. As for, again, just to comment regarding trial, as for evaluation capabilities, if you are limited, if you have some particular prerequisites, also do not hesitate to address us, so we will analyze what we can do for you to evaluate the capabilities of drawings in the web and to compare whether or not they fit your requirements, how you can make the necessary tests, and etc. Overall, looks that's it for today, because we do not see any new questions in the chat. Hope this session was informative, and we'll be waiting for you during the next session. Thank you very much for visiting, and goodbye.
Thank you for your attention.